this week. And after that, I'll have my alter ego motor mic.
Oh no, the power went out.
Man, it's cold out here. Gotta save the day again.
Battery bank.
Woohoo! Thank you!
This might Welcome to Expedition Lightbulb. So I am suffering from analysis paralysis. The reason why is that as of January 1st, 21, I know nothing about small engines. That is the reason why I kind of abused our last generator. I thought it was maintenance free, and I am really wrong about that. So what that February storm, that February Texas disaster, ice, snow, and low temperature showed me was that I had a lot of holes in my system. So this week, what we are going to be going over is the Ryobi 1800 gas inverter. Who is this for? So let's start off with somebody fun, the tailgaters. The tailgaters are not going to be using this for cooking for the most part. They're going to be smoking their briskets with hardwood. They're going to be cooking hamburgers and hot dogs on propane or charcoal, so they're not going to be using that. What they're going to be using it for are TVs, lights, and speakers. So that is minimum draw. At that moment, that inverter is actually at conversation level, which is so awesome because then you will not hear that inverter. So the RVers. The RVers, this is pretty cool too. As long as you have a small AC unit, it can run it. And this can also charge up your batteries too. So small RVs, yes, this is essential for it too. Now, your outdoor conventions, if you're a retailer, this is awesome. This one has handles everywhere that you can chain up to secure it. It's just like the tailgaters. You're going to be running electronics, and this is perfect for sensitive electronics. Now, home backup power. This is one of my most essential pieces to my preps, is this gas inverter. And the reason for that is it can power up my Goal Zero products on a rainy day. They can get charged. They can charge all of my Ryobi Ghost batteries. And also, whatever it is outside, if it's cold, it can warm us up with that space heater. If it's ultra 100% Texas heat, it can power up a small AC. It is very, very essential for our preps. Specs. Let's start off at the business end of this, why we're going to get this. This is pure sine wave, 120 volts, 20 amps, AC power, and again, pure sine wave. And it has a little protective cover, protect it from the dust and a little bit of rain. You have two USB-A ports, nice. And then now you're going to have an auto idle off or on. When you want to conserve energy, you'll actually just turn this on. When you need surging power, what I do now, what I've learned, is turn this off and it'll surge faster. Parallel. So here's your circuit breaker and your parallel ports. I'm not going to use it. This is a sole unit. The ground. If your local laws tell you to ground it, this is where you're going to ground it. Or if you're going to run this in parallel, this is where you would ground it. CO2. We've run that pretty awesome test and it actually worked pretty fast. This takes forever to reset. It was like 5 minutes, but that is a good safety feature, the reset. With all our experiments that we've done today and yesterday, we've had to reset this a couple of times. I am learning the system, so this is where you reset it if it says overload down here. All right, this little gauge here, okay, you're going to be doing a digital fuel gauge. This is also going to tell you where to connect and how to pair with this button right here, and it's going to tell you your load. And this is also in the middle here, it's going to tell you your time. So fuel, time, and then your load over here. Now, this is the front part of this system right here, and you'll get more on the app, the Gen Control app itself. All right, the pool side of it, right? The pool side of it. So this is going to be usually stored in the off and storage position, which is downward. If you want to start this, what you're going to do is put it on choke, number 2, and it says cold start. You're going to pull this as many times as it starts the engine. It's going to sputter a little bit, and then once it starts to sputter, you're going to leave it there about 30 seconds to 1 minute, and then you're going to do it on run. Okay. If you're going to restart it and the engine's warm, you'll just have to put it back on number 4, which is run or restart, and you're going to restart it from there. Pretty easy on this side. All right, let's look at our 6. What we're going to be doing here is maintenance to take away this or clean the spark arrest over here. Okay, so very easy. It comes with an Allen wrench. Take these 4 screws out, and then there's a little retainer here. Take this out, take the spark arrest, and use a brush to clean it. And that's basically it for the butt end. The Ducar 80cc engine. We're going to start at the front, which the front is that way. We're going to start off with the fuel filter. If you can see the laser, we are actually going to insert a picture so you can see that. You're going to be changing this every 300 hours, inspecting it every 100 hours. The next is going to be the heart, the carburetor over here. For long-term storage, what you guys are going to do is you are going to run this thing dry. So fuel all the way down, no more fuel, and there's a drain hose here, and there's a Phillips screwdriver right here, and what you're going to do is turn it, that way there's no fuel in there so it doesn't oxidize. Next, under that is going to be your air filter. Air filter, just like a car, this one's foam. The way they tell you take care of it, wash it with soapy water, let it dry, put it back. They don't even say to put any oil on there. Next is the valves. Every 300 hours you should get this checked by a mechanic. I'm not doing it. I do not know how to gauge this. It's not a 50 cal. I know how to gauge that thing, but I don't know how to gauge this. I saw videos and it's actually like gauging a 50 cal, the headspace and timing for you Marines out there. Behind this is the spark plug. We are going to be replacing this with a Denso Iridium spark plug, and I should be done after that. I am going to keep the OEM just in case something happens, but you should always have spare spark plugs. Last is going to be your dipstick. This doesn't have a oil filter like your car, so everything in there slushes around. The little pieces of metal get stuck on this magnetic dipstick. So this is what we recommend for you, and here's some proof. We have changed the oil on this, and it only has how many hours on here? Like, let's say less than 20. I've changed it 4 times. 2 for me and 2 for YouTube. So if you look at this, you'll see that there's metallic particles on this one, and this one only has around, let's say, 5 hours, and this one has 15 minutes for your guys' test. There are more metallic particles on here than the first one, who has like 15 hours. That is crazy. So that's proof that this magnetic dipstick is actually working, and it only costs $10. And that's pretty much it for the maintenance. The Gen Control app. This is my second favorite item on the Ryobi 1800. The top part's going to be your fuel level. To me, it's good enough. Of course, I'd like to see a gauge on there, but it's pretty good. The runtime, this is pretty awesome because you can kind of gauge it with your fuel level, knowing the loads that you're going to be running, and it gives you the amount of time until that thing's going to run out of fuel. The load level, or the wattage down here, is extremely valuable. You can use it kind of as a kilowatt, but you just have to let it run for a little bit. It doesn't update as fast, but if you have a constant draw, it'll tell you what the wattage is. So that way you can take out appliances or put appliances on as you want to. The engine off. This engine off is pretty cool. I use this a lot actually because I control this from our media room. So you simply press the engine off and then you press and hold the yes button and it'll turn it off, right? That's pretty cool. This is pretty awesome too. So if you're trying to ration how much you're trying to use, this shutdown in 5 hours and 30 minutes, that's the most it'll do. That's fabulous too. Here is some others. Total runtime. This is really awesome because why? You'll know when to change the oil. I probably changed the oil 4 times, 2 for YouTube and then 2 for me. Breaking it in 30 minutes and then changing the oil again. I really want to take care of this engine. This is really a valuable tool. To add a second generator that's there, I don't use that. I only have one. Oh, that's the same. And then your settings. You can turn your black light on from here, auto idle from here. Your shutdown timer, you can do it from the app, which is for the secondary app. And then the black light, you can turn it off, on and off. That works. I've checked out all of this stuff. All right, and then forget this generator. That's my only generator. I don't want to forget it. So I'm going to turn it off from here. Of course, you guys can't hear it. I can. All right, this is it with the Gen Control app. What we are going to demonstrate now is a cold start with Anne and see if a small female can do it. First thing she's going to do is put it on choke. And now she's going to pull the starter. She may have to pull this 6 times or more. I got to pull harder than that. There you go. No, that's it. Put it on run. All right, that was pretty easy. That's surprising. The next demonstration is going to be if Anne can actually lift this. Okay, no. And now she's going to move it 2 ways. With the handle is the first one. All right. The next is going to be with the luggage handle, which most inverters don't have. All right, and that's a win. Good job. And what I'm going to do is lift to see if I can handle it. It's pretty light. What we're going to run next is going to be the CO2 test. It actually worked. Good job, Ryobi. Changing the oil. I actually enjoy changing the oil on this. I have no idea why. It's probably because I bought this big bottle and it only uses around 12 ounces, so it's cheap. And I'm actually learning to take care of this engine. So, I don't know. It's mine. It's ours, right? So I feel that I'm taking care of it. The oil changes are cheap. There's no filter. So what you're going to need is a Phillips screwdriver, a funnel, a lot of oil, a lot of lube because it's like Saturday night, a drip pan or oil pan here, okay? So it's that easy. What we're going to do is it has a drip pan here, and I'm going to unscrew that. Take off the side door here. You're going to expose our Ducar engine. And
take out the magnetic dipstick. I don't know why I'm putting on gloves. And you're going to manhandle her. And there's a drip pan on here. This unit actually doesn't need to be changed oil right now, but for your viewing purposes, this is how easy it's going to be. I do have a full tank of gas on, but it's not dripping here, which is really good. This is really lightweight too. Just to emphasize how my wife couldn't carry it yesterday and she's giving me an evil face. The first time you're going to do this, there is going to be metallic in there, and that's normal because this doesn't have a filter. So that is normal. Alright, so what you're going to do next, and I don't have a measuring cup, but what they say is it has to go to the threads. And I should have a better way of doing this, but I don't. I should have, for you guys, please save that little bottle and then mark 12 ounces on there. I did not do that. Alright, sorry guys, I had some dirt in the funnel. So again, now I'm just going to put some oil in here. Okay, that should be 12 ounces, and it's to the threads. And that's essentially it. You're going to plug this back in. Put the cover on. This is a lot easier than doing a car because there's no filter on here. I always put a piece of cardboard under, so that way I'm not dirtying up the concrete. Just have to do a good job, and then put this plate back in there. I'm sure you guys want to see that too. Okay, that's it for the oil change. Pretty easy. Fresh off of the Amazon truck, we finally got our iridium spark plug. So the one that we have is going to be the IWF20. Please check to see if your spark plug is compatible. I'm really excited about this, honestly. So what you're going to do is take the black cap off of this, expose it. You're going to take the spark plug tool that came with your Ryobi generator, and you're going to shoot it in there sort of like an arc, like a basketball is going to, right? You're going to face this circle towards you. Wiggle it till it seeds in there. You're going to take the little pipe that it came with, and you're going to just break it to where it releases. You're going to take this out, take the spark plug tool out because it needs to come up and it's not going to give you enough space. There is absolutely no modification to you doing this. I've seen a guy on YouTube put a hole here. Please don't do that. The guy's brave enough to actually put that on there. Alright, take the iridium spark plug here. There it is. You're going to hand tight this. So what it says on the manual is just to turn it half a turn. That's it. Alright, next. You can't do an inverter test unless you got a heat gun, right? Because that's what every YouTuber does. We're also going to be doing a sound test. Right now, it's going to be around 50 decibels. And this is just with everybody mowing their lawn and airplanes flying above. There is going to be a game changer in this, and I hate that word game changer. it's going to be the Ryobi app. It actually shows the wattage. Okay, so give me a second on this. So with it just starting like that, you're going to get 17 hours of runtime. And it's pulling 3 watts there. So what we're going to do, check the noise level. Next to it is going to be around 80 decibels. 5 feet. About 72. I'm about 10 feet away now. That's conversation right there. That's 70. Okay, so now we're going to put 100 watts. The heat gun is on 1, and that's 100 watts. Let's do a noise test. 80. 70. And 70. This is what I love about Ryobi. Even with just 100 watts, it doesn't change the idle. So for offset, operational security, it's really good because it's throwing out 100. And it's still on idle. And here comes 1500 watts. Now you're at 90 decibels. At 5 feet, you're at 82. At 10 feet, you're at 78. And the runtime is going to be 5 hours and 18 seconds. 5 hours and 18 minutes. Next test, kettle. Because you need your coffee during a disaster. So when we use this kettle on the kilowatt, it's going to be 1500 watts, waiting for it to reconnect. Right? And what I'm going to do, press start. It's having a hard time. There it is. It just needs to find its way. Coffee. The remaining time on that is going to be 5 hours and 18 minutes. That's a lot of coffee.
A few minutes later.
All right, here's our proof of purchase. That's hot water for your coffee. Any disaster needs coffee. That's about 1 liter of water. And that's all, folks. Alright, so obviously I'm going to take my mic off for safety reasons, but this is where I chop my hand off, okay? So what we're going to do is mimic a zombie apocalypse, and you guys need to reinforce your door with a 2x4, and we're going to run it with this. It should have no problems, but I will mic off, turn everything on with the magic of runtime on the freezer. This is our endurance test on our small freezer. You can tell that it's running at 163 watts to 165 watts. Its runtime is 9 hours and 10 minutes. This means that Ryobi 1800 can easily run this. You're going to be running this periodically through the day, a couple times a day, to ensure that your food stays frozen. So this is an endurance test now. We have both the freezer and the refrigerator running at the same time, and it's consuming 1,362 watts. And the runtime on this is going to be 5 hours and 23 minutes. Okay, so the refrigerator, which is already cold, turned off. The compressor basically turned off, so that's normal. So now we're going to do a surge test, and we're going to add this heater. We're going to put on level 1, which is around 400 to 500 watts, and I'm going to surge it with the heat gun, which is 1500 watts. It should be 1800 watts. Alright, so I'm going to put the heater on level 1, which is around 500 watts. I'm going to put the heat gun on level 1 and off. 1, off. Alright, here's 2. I just was looking for the surge. To get it back, since it's overloaded, you're just going to reset it. And it says 1851 on there, but it never registered on the first one, so I'm kind of disappointed in this. We're going to do that again. Here's level 1, which is 100 watts. It takes a little bit of time doing that, then I'm going to surge it. A long time for it to show up, or it doesn't even show up. There it is. The pros. The pros for me personally are that I've gotten to grow with this unit. I've gotten to learn how to take care of a small engine, maintain a small engine, and it wasn't just for YouTube. This is actually after that crazy cold weather. Now, for the unit itself, the app is awesome. There's a wattage on there now, which is pretty, I have not seen any other generator do that, which is super cool because you could figure out how much time you have till that 1.2 gallons run out. That's pretty cool. The DIY videos that are out there for this unit is so awesome. You can change oil, you can change your spark plug, you can change the fuel filter. One guy even tears it down to the valves. That's pretty freaking awesome. The engine itself. The engine is used by Yamaha, Generac, Westinghouse, Cat, just to name a few. And those are big names. So you know that this engine is pretty reliable. Is it Honda reliable? No, it's not. There's some features in there that I wish they had. But at the same time, you're paying for almost half the price. So reliability-wise, I'm okay with that. If those companies are using it, that means it's reliable. Low noise.
This is why we got this for offset, right? Operational security. I like that low drone versus the high drone of that generator, and which leads us to the pure sine wave. With any electronics, you want to use pure sine wave. My champion uses modified sine wave, and I will only run my refrigerator with that. But with the new refrigerators, you need pure sine wave. You got to be careful. That's a $2,000-$3,000 refrigerator that might break if you don't use the right type of inverter. The cons. Let's start off with the fuel. The fuel is such a pain in the butt. I use non-ethanol fuel. I understand that. I can use regular fuel, but I really want to maintain this. I really want to do right with this engine. Non-ethanol. I have to drive 30 minutes just to get this fuel. It's California prices. And then you have to add the stabilizer in there. It's a pain in the butt. The maintenance on this is like a car. You have to change the oil, change the fuel filter. There's no spark arrest on a car, and then the air filter. That's enough for people to just run away from this thing. But I'm starting to like it because I'm starting to learn a lot more about engines. The noise. There is noise to this, and it's a low tone versus my wife's high tone, which is very annoying. The cost. The cost of this is about half of a generator cost, but you're getting pure sine wave versus modified sine wave with the generator. So that to me is a plus. The safety. Okay, the safety concerns, please do what the manufacturer says, what the manual says, 20 feet away. This can kill you. So again, that's a con, but it's for your own good. So when we got this, our first unit, it had a big gash on the bottom of the box. The transfer of energy actually pushed this panel out here and broke it. And of course, the pieces are here. No big deal, we returned it. It's a shipping error, not any Ryobi problem. The second one was the QC on the carburetor drain was actually loose. So as soon as I put fuel in there, it just started spilling fuel. I got lucky, tightened it up with my hand, and that's all she wrote about that. Fuel. Your inverter is going to need fuel. We use non-ethanol gasoline. It is very, very hard to find this. And in Texas, this is California prices. With that being said, we only keep 5 gallons of it. In order to store our fuel for a longer time, we use stable. The new packages actually have a reservoir here that you kind of push up there, and it's easy to know what the right amount of stable. So we did a smell test. I used the wife alarm. I wanted to see the quality of this Wavian gas can. So we had to refuel, and we were using a car at the time. So I put this behind my wife's seat. That alarm is going to sound like, it smells like gas in here. It smells like gas in here. And as the fumes get stronger, that alarm is only going to get more annoying. There's that alarm. Love you. Okay. It passed. It passed with flying colors. There was no fumes in there. So this is why I keep recommending it to you guys, even though the price is expensive. I'm going to keep telling you guys that, but it's worth it. Next is going to be refueling it. This is going to be a shaker hose. This is a dedicated gas can, non-ethanol gasoline. So you're going to open this up first. Gas cap here. Alright, you're going to shake it on the jerry can side here violently. And there goes that transfer of fuel. And you're going to turn it off by pulling on the jerry can side. And there it is. Oh, it's going to spill. All right. Only one drop spilled on this one. Nope, no drops. One drop.
And that's how we fill it up. It's very efficient, and of course the headlight, so you can see how your fuel level is. That's very efficient. Actually, that's the first time I actually did it right. I'm still learning.
All right, Michael's wish list. So I only have two. First one is going to be I wish that it had the wattage on the inverter itself. This would put it leagues above the other 80cc Ducar engines. So put that watt meter on the unit itself. That would be excellent. The second one would be kind of stealing an idea from Honda. There's a setting on Honda where you can put it and it runs the gasoline dry. Basically cuts off the gas and runs the whole unit dry. For me, this feature would just extend the longevity of this inverter. In conclusion, would I buy this? Obviously, for the next 6 months to a year, it's going to be yes. These are all of our preps. Would I recommend it? The answer is yes. If you're using it for medical uses like a CPAP machine, if you're using it for your refrigerator to chill your insulin, yes. This is a big enough unit and will not hurt it if you run those machines. Now, the way we use this to power up one room, it can do it, and it can do it easily. Depending on how much storage of gasoline you're going to have is up to you on how long you want to run that. But I've been very happy with this unit, and the more that I learn about it, the more that I recommend it.
Alright, so this week's tip is going to be how to get rid of that rattle. I've seen some people do it. This is the simplest way how to do it. Bend a piece of cardboard and put it under, and that rattle is now gone. That is the fastest, cheapest way to do it. Gotta save the day again.